Hello and welcome to Fidelity Next, our student webcast that helps take individuals to the next level in their careers. I'm your host, Emily Aneesah. Here at Fidelity Canada, we want to help you build your career in all aspects through professional development, skill building, and mentorship programs. And we start early on in your career journey by offering a comprehensive co-op program that's available through colleges and universities across Canada. Through our program, we provide you with comprehensive training to help set you up for success in your present and in your future. So to talk more about the co-op program and what it offers are two exceptional members of our human resources team, Verita Karkouti and Aneesah Rashad. Happy to have you both in studio. Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for having us.
I think this is a great opportunity to really sit down and talk about our co-op program because I believe we have one of the best co-op programs out there, really. I've been here 6 years at the company and talking to co-op students who've gone through, our department and other departments. It's just a really, really great program and structure. So we're going to get into it. Verita, I'm going to start with you. I believe our co-op program has been around for over 10 years. You've been involved for several years. So Verita, how have you seen the program sort of like change and evolve over the years, would you say?
I've seen a huge evolution for the student program. When I started managing the program, we only had 19 students. Our last group had 87. We used to target specific schools and keep it quite small. But over the years, we've branched out and we have a reach of universities right across the country, from UBC all the way to Dalhousie. We want to provide opportunities for the students to learn and grow and develop skills. We offer workshops on communications, presentation skills, business conduct excellence, emotional intelligence. We provide them with opportunities to meet our president and senior leaders across the organization. And all of that enriches the experience and makes it a really enticing program for students at university.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that was a great overview. We're going to dig deep into all those elements during the show. But Aneesah, I want to turn to you because you were a former co-op student, like many of our full-time employees, now a full-time employee with us. Explain to the audience how being in the co-op program sort of was a test drive to your career and what you eventually wanted to do.
Yeah, no, that's a great question, Emily. Thinking back on my experience as a student, I think it really does give you a great first-hand exposure of what it is to be a full-time employee. Like, I think back to the work that I was doing, the projects that I was a part of, and even once I transitioned to a full-time employee, a lot of it was the same. At that point in time, I was studying HR in school, that was my major, but I didn't know what it meant to work in talent acquisition until I came to Fidelity. And through all of the workshops, the training, the one-on-one sessions with mentors, all of the great training that Verita provided us, it really does kind of give you an enriching experience overall. And you get to see what it's like to be in a full-time job, which other co-ops and other jobs I had previously did not give that same experience. So that's why when I graduated, I knew I wanted to come back no matter what. The experience was so amazing that I had to return, and thankfully things worked out that way. And coming back to a full-time job, I got to work on the same team for about a year.
That's nice.
And that transition was so smooth because of all of the preparation that happened before. And like I said, all that training that really goes into making the co-op program what it is. So overall, I guess in a nutshell, I would say the co-op program does a great job of kind of giving you what a real life job looks like, that exposure, that experience, the opportunity to network with other people, and just kind of echoes what my role is kind of like now. So
that's fantastic.
Yeah.
And I know that many co-op students basically hit the ground running in terms of all the workshops that are available to them, but really being able to access the senior executive team and talk to them and communicate with them. Aneesah, how was that experience like for you in terms of getting to, get their thoughts from the senior executive team?
Yeah, I mean, as a student, that experience was surreal because, like I mentioned, in my other companies and co-op experiences before Fidelity, I never even got to meet the execs at some of those companies. So then walking into Fidelity, Verita works really closely with all of the students and makes sure that they have a lot of face time with the execs. You get those one-on-one conversations. You get to actually have a coffee chat, hear about their life stories, hear about their successes, which is really motivating as a student coming into a company, because not only does it speak to the great culture that Fidelity has, but it shows that, you know, we really are sort of like a family, even from a student's perspective. So I really did value all of those conversations. And even now, coming back in a full-time capacity, if I pass a senior exec in the hall, like, yeah, you can just go up to them and you can wave to them and you feel comfortable, which is not something that you see quite commonly. And I think, again, it really does speak to the amazing culture we have here.
And that's just one of the unique aspects of the program, right, Verita?
Yes.
The fact that, like, that's on purpose, to be able to have access to everybody, make you feel not like a student, but like an actual part of the team.
Absolutely. The access to our president and senior executives throughout the organization is very important. They want to meet with the students. It is the future of Fidelity. This is the talent pool that we're able to access from the great job that Aneesah's team does on recruiting for the roles, and the willingness from the executives to want to meet with the students, to opportunities to meet with our portfolio managers, and have those conversations. And then also the senior executives at the end of the term typically will take their students out for lunch.
That's nice. That's excellent. I'm going to stay with you, Verita, because we know that many co-op students return to the program for second, third, many other terms beyond their first term. And the experience for them is actually slightly different. They're offered different things. Can you expand on that?
Yes. There are, as you mentioned, we have students that come back for 5 terms.
I remember asking, what's the longest? Right?
Five terms. Can you imagine? That's amazing. We're so fortunate to have students that like the culture, that like the program, that want to be here, that want to come back for repeated terms. And going through the program for the first time, we offer so many different types of workshops. But coming back, what is it that we can offer to enrich the experience? So one of the things that we do is offer a mentor match program. This provides students with an opportunity to have a mentor in the organization to talk about careers, different types of skills, things they want to pursue. We offer also the returning students act as a buddy for all first-time students coming through the door. They remember what it was like to be
in those
walking.
shoes.
Right?
A bit nervous.
A bit nervous, not sure what to make, don't know where to find things. So they act as a guide and a coach for them. It really helps them get acclimated really quickly. And also, we offer different workshops for the students to build different skills. We've got a public speaking workshop, thinking quickly on your feet. We do MBTI. We're offering the students an opportunity, the returning students, to help with these webcasts. In fact, this particular session was a suggestion from the previous group. So we rely heavily on them to come up with ideas and contribute. And I think that's the key takeaway from them. We value their contributions. We want to hear what they say, and they feel brave enough and bold enough to share their ideas with us.
That's amazing.
And to add on to that, Verita, another great opportunity for those students that come have a great term but want to stay connected with Fidelity is the opportunity to be a campus ambassador. So once you return to campus, if you've done really well during your time here, we always invite students to remain connected with us by being ambassadors. So it's not a part-time job in any realm, but it is more so if you have capacity, you kind of put in those hours, and it really does help to maintain that connection of those students once they return to campus, and then hopefully come back to Fidelity in the future. So it's another opportunity for returning students, and our group keeps getting larger and larger, so it's really great to see.
So Aneesah, when you're on the ground at these recruitment events, what are potential students telling you about, talking to you about, and who is this co-op program for, would you say?
Yeah, I think our co-op program is catered towards anyone and everyone, really. Even if you may not have a traditional finance background or didn't study business, we've seen students come from all different majors, and they've done really well throughout the co-op program. So I think really we're just looking for people that are first enthusiastic about Fidelity as a company. They want to learn and grow, no matter if they may not be long-term in finance. They want exposure to the industry for sure. and definitely students that are curious, looking to ask questions, to kind of network and reach out to other students. It's funny enough that at most of these events that we go to, in some shape or form, most times you're going to run into someone like, hey, I remember speaking to someone that worked at Fidelity previously. So a lot of it is word of mouth. A lot of our previous students, have a big network of students that they keep in touch with and kind of help promote the brand through that word of mouth. And of course, our ambassadors are another way that kind of help to spread and promote what the program is like. So I guess, it's a variety that happens at these events. It just depends on, what students we meet in that specific environment.
And it's good to know that you don't necessarily need to have a business background, just a curiosity. No. Right, because there's so many different departments here at Fidelity and so many different aspects you can touch in financial services, right? So I don't think students need to, be too worried that you need a business background, would you say?
No, not at all. Like I said, we have had students from many different backgrounds and programs. It does lay out on the job description what the preferred program is, but of course it's not a requirement. It's more so nice to have. So
let's talk a little bit about the application process and the interview process, because what can you say to students who want to leave a lasting impression and really ace that interview?
Yeah, I mean, right from the beginning, coming into the interview, the students that are really prepared have done their research on the company, ask a lot of great questions, show that they're really enthusiastic about the role, about being part of Fidelity, are the ones that tend to be very successful. And, that impression, not only during the interview, but once you get if you get selected to be a student at Fidelity, those 4 months go by fast. And the ones that are, the most successful are the ones that are continually putting in that effort to kind of go above and beyond what's expected of them or required of them. They have that curiosity within them. They like to reach out to different teams, network, have coffee chats. They see maybe a project that they want to get involved in.
Take
that initiative to put their hand up and take on more than what is told or asked of them.
And you've said, Verita, that the co-op placement is like a 4-month long interview, right? In a sense.
It is. Students have an opportunity in those 4 months to really stand out. I always tell the group, there was a student in your chair the day before you arrived, and there'll be a student in your chair the day after you leave. You have 4 months to get involved with team projects, with our employee resource groups, no task is too small. If it will help the team, do it. That will start building rapport with the team. They'll rely on you. It'll show your willingness, and then they will come to you as the go-to person. So it's not just about staying within the lines of your job description. What else can you do? You want to make them miserable, because at the end of 4 months, there'll be someone else. You want them to miss you when you're gone.
Yeah, that's true. And it's not all work. There's lots of social activities. And Verita, I know, can you mention some of the things that the co-op students are involved in outside of their placement?
Absolutely. We don't want it to just be about work. There's a large group. This past summer, we had 87. So
the summer cohorts are always like bigger, right?
The summer is a little bit bigger, but there's so many of them. And they build such a strong bond with each other that I want to be able to ensure that they have fun. So we've done we've done paint cabin. It's a great opportunity for them to develop that bond outside of work hours. And what's great about paint cabin is that they're able to offer it both virtually and in person. So regardless of whether the student is in Toronto or Vancouver or Halifax, they're still able to participate. We do paintings on canvas. We've painted tote bags. We have done virtual murder mysteries, virtual escape rooms. We volunteer with our employee resource groups. The students always get involved with the Holland Bloorview Capes for Kids fundraiser in the winter time. Really a way for them to give back to the community. And then we take a tour of the hospital as well, so they know where their efforts, where that money is being directed. Right.
That's wonderful. Now, day one as a co-op student in your placement, what advice would you give to those students who are just starting out that it could be a little bit overwhelming at first? What would you say, Aneesah?
I would say, I know it might be overwhelming, but to just take a step back, because at the end of the day, we want to see you succeed, right? And like any new experience, there's going to be a learning curve, but the more comfortable you are with asking questions, reaching out for help if needed, like everyone here is super supportive and wants to see you thrive in the role. So I think just remembering that it's okay to make mistakes. In fact, it's encouraged. That's how you learn the best, would help you succeed throughout the term.
Yeah. I would say embrace every single opportunity. Keep an open mind. Attend all the sessions. Be open to feedback. We really have designed this program to make use of every single moment of the 4 months that you're here. And if you are receptive to that, you'll be able to build connections within within the student group, with managers across the organization, with senior leaders, and you can really learn about the company and make informed decisions about a career in financial services or a career within Fidelity.
And how do you sort of place each student once they apply? Like, how do you know which department that they are best suited for, would you say, Aneesah?
Yeah, I mean, most times the students are pretty set on what job they want or what department they've applied for. But in some cases, throughout an interview, because they're done in panels, we might have a different opinion on where it's a better suit or better match for that particular student, just based on, you know, some of their interests, what they're looking to gain out of the opportunity, some of the skills that they want to enhance or develop on. So I would say overall, a lot of our roles are pretty rotational in the sense that, you know, if you have the baseline skills for one role, you can do the next role. And that's typically what we see here at Fidelity. Like, a student may come in and say, like, I want to be a part of finance, but then they do a term in finance and they're like, okay, maybe it's not for me. We always encourage those students to come back and try a different area of the business to make sure
there's some flexibility there.
Exactly.
Because I feel like maybe you started off in one thing, interested in one thing, and then if your mind changes, you guys work with them to try to figure out the best position for them.
And we try to help set them up for success in a way that, you know, it's benefiting them, they're enjoying the work that they're doing, and they're also learning, because that's the end goal of this whole program. We want to make sure you're continually learning throughout the program.
And just to add one thing, that's what's great about being part of a co-op program. 4 months for you to try something. You can do anything for 4 months. In those 4 months, you may discover, this is great, this is exactly what I want to do. Or, you know what, it was good, but I don't think that's where I want to go. So you can at least check that off your box and try something different. But it goes back to keeping an open mind, embracing every single opportunity to learn, to grow, because the skills you learn in that role can easily be applied to another role.
For sure. We can talk about this for several more minutes. But for my last question, you know, to those students who are kind of hesitant and thinking about joining the co-op program, but, you know, may not know if they're best suited for it, what would you say to them in terms of thinking about it and applying?
I would say just go for it, honestly. Like, you never know what opportunity may be out there for you, or even if you think you may not be qualified enough, that could be wrong. Like, I know personally, reflecting on my own co-op experience, at times there were jobs that maybe I thought, oh, okay, maybe I shouldn't apply because I'm just not qualified. But you never know until you actually submit an application, right? So just go for it, be excited, be curious, take that leap of faith, because like Verita mentioned, this program is really, as much as you're willing to put into the effort of it, is what you're going to get from the experience overall.
For sure. Verita, Aneesah, thank you so much for joining me today and giving great insights into our co-op program. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you so much for having me.
And thanks to everyone who tuned into today's episode of Fidelity Next. We hope we've inspired you to find out more about our co-op program and possibly pursue an early career here at Fidelity Canada. Now, applications for our winter 2025 co-op term closes September 20th, but there are many opportunities to join us in future rounds. So for more information, please visit fidelity.ca/careers and browse the early careers section. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next episode of Fidelity Next.